Welcome to the Daily Good, and here are your hosts, Alex and Amanda.
Hey there, Girl Scouts, and welcome to the Daily Good. We just finished a super exciting cookie season last month, and we hope that all of you guys reach your cookie goals plus some this season. And today we have a great episode planned for you guys where Alex and I are going to go full steam ahead. So, we're your hosts. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Alex, and we're so excited to cover all the fun that the world of STEAM has to offer. And if you aren't familiar with what STEAM is, it's a very broad term that stands for science, technology, art, or engineering, art, and mathematics, which covers a wide variety of careers, experiments, education, and more.
And a few different examples of careers in STEAM include any type of engineering, architecture, website app design,
doctors, designers, from fashion designers, graphic designers,
interior designers,
astronauts,
an animator,
technicians, archaeologists,
and so much more.
Those are just some of the most common, but there's just a whole world of STEAM careers that you can explore.
Yeah, and STEAM is so important. You may not realize it, but pretty much every day you guys are doing a different STEAM activity. And it could be creating art or building things with your hands. You could be figuring out how certain toy pieces fit together, like Legos, or by playing video games and doing coding. You're probably doing a lot of it in school.
Yeah, and the approach that STEAM has, it's created innovations like the iPhone, the original laptop, revolutioning the world of cooking in third world countries, or just improving the overall quality of life as a result.
Yeah, and that process that's involved in STEAM activity helps you guys to ask questions, connect the dots, problem solve, think creatively, be innovative. It's a very
problem-solving solution. But STEAM is just a whole bunch of fun. It solves the world's greatest problems, like helping people to obtain clean water, helping to build sustainable and affordable housing, or even create prosthetics.
Yeah, and vaccines, like our coronavirus vaccine that is coming out. And so the future is STEAM. Our STEAM jobs between 2024 and now are expected to grow by 16%, where other sectors are only supposed to grow by 11%.
Yeah, and even the careers in STEM are, like, their income is doubling in their earnings.
That's amazing. So in order to reach this goal that the statistics say we're supposed to, we need to foster and invest in STEAM and different STEM careers young. So let's start now. Girl Scouts want to help you guys get more STEAM education, whether it's coming from school, from Girl Scouts, or a different club, or at home.
So now Amanda and I are going to talk with someone who decided to pursue a career in technology and just hear about how she's making a difference as a woman in tech in our world.
I'm so excited. Yeah.
So up next, we have a special guest, a woman who works in tech herself. I'm so happy to introduce New Vo. She is currently at ALSAC and works as a network administrator.
Welcome.
Thanks for coming on, New.
Thank you for reaching out to me.
No, we're excited. I think it's very important that we identify and highlight women who work in tech, especially during this time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and super awesome. New is actually a young woman. She's in her 20s, recently graduated, so we love to see that she secured a wonderful position at a great organization.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, ALSAC is a part of St. Jude. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do there as a network administrator, and tell people who maybe don't know what ALSAC at St. Jude does for them.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I actually haven't graduated yet. I'm still at this, but I will be graduating in May with a degree in BBA and major in IT. So like Alex said, I currently work at ALSAC St. Jude as a network administrator, and what this job entails is we just configure switches and routing protocols for the whole network and making sure that everything's secure and the users or clients' data privacy is being protected by us. Before this job, though, I did intern there for a year doing similar tasks, and then also working with our university partner, UMRF Ventures, as an information security analyst.
Awesome.
Awesome.
That's a lot of techie words. So can you break it down a little bit more? When you say network, are you talking about like the computer networks within the entire hospital, or what specifically does that mean?
So it pretty much includes, so whenever, like, for example, I'm sure at your organization, you have to log in and sometimes you might have to connect to like a virtual network to be able to access certain files that you don't want, the public internet to know of. And that's, for us, that means clients, IP addresses, you don't want that to be out so that it's, vulnerable to being hacked by someone else. We want to protect our data, so we have to configure certain protocols in the network, which is, just like a command prompt. We call it a terminal. And what it does is it pretty much says, this user is coming from China and we don't know anybody or doing any business in China. So maybe we should block that traffic from China going into the network because that creates a vulnerability in our network.
You kind of do like almost cybersecurity, right? Is that kind of what it would, which is super important. That's a lot of sensitive information.
Yes.
So tell us, Nu, what kind of gauged your interest in studying information technology?
My interest in technology actually started at a very young age. I would say it was probably too young.
First immigrated here, our family really started off with like very little.
So when my uncle got a desktop computer, I remember being really intrigued, like, what is this machine? Like, what does it do? So whenever my cousins weren't like on it, and I would like sneak off at night, like going on the computer and like
Stuff, just like simple stuff like changing the background or like,
How old were you?
I was probably, I didn't even hit like elementary school, so I was probably like 4 or 5 years old.
Wow.
Which
Love
is
that.
You don't want to give like a computer to someone so young.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was gradually learning the machine myself without really even getting on the internet, because at the time I didn't know what that was. But as I got older and after like many attempts of like me going around my apartment complex, like borrowing people's computers and stuff, I started getting into HTML and CSS coding, believe it or not, through MySpace.
Yes. I remember
Like
that.
the original coding.
So I got,
my coding, like that's how I started off with coding a little bit, because I was experimenting with the codes on MySpace, and I was still super young at this point. And now I'm thinking about it, I was like, why did I even do that? But it led me to all these experiences. And so after that, I guess it made me realize, I kind of have a knack for technology, partially due to being exposed at a very young age.
Yeah.
And then I was always like, satisfied whenever I got the output that I wanted when I write out the codes and stuff.
Is it challenging kind of like figuring it out of like, that code works, this works? I imagine like even what you do now as a network administrator can be challenging.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it didn't, it would not just work like the first time I tried it. I had to try like multiple times. And then what really helped was Google. So if I didn't know something, I would Google like, oh, how do I change a color for this, menu or something. And then they would have a bunch of resources on the internet where I could try different things. And then if it didn't work, well then what is the syntax error? How do I like fix it? And then it was always satisfying when I could get it right. And then I tried to like kind of, I guess, make myself more of an expert in it. So I would try that code with different things to where I could remember it for the next time I want to do it.
Right. That's actually something that we at Girl Scouts share with our STEM programs, is like the design process, or just like figuring out anything with STEM, whether it's coding, engineering, technology, is like it's
Try again.
Try, fail, try again. It's learning using your problem solving skills. And like even with the past programs, girls have been so satisfied when they figured out something new, or they were creative enough to come up with a new code.
Like, yes, I got
it. Yeah.
Well, like clicks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of with that, I know you said you got started young, so you have quite a bit of experience in technology, or just kind of in that world. And as you're finishing college, you've had internships and other job opportunities. Is there anything that you have learned about the tech industry that you didn't know before as a child?
I guess I would say that what was like the most interesting thing that I've, come to realize is that the world of technology is very versatile. So it can be applied, just not in like innovation, but it's used in the finance world, for automations and stuff. Like we can see today, like our phones, laptops, like they control what our schedule looks like. And I mean, it assists us in everyday routines. But I will say that I don't wish to see that happening in every aspect of our lives, because a lot of times, like, I've like cut off social media from my standpoint. I never really thought about it, but after spending so much time, working with data and stuff, I've realized, oh wait, it's kind of like not that great that I'm putting so much about myself out there.
Right.
Yes.
Used for like, detrimental things. And then these big tech companies, like nothing against them, but they, use our data to make more money for themselves. So I wish that there was like more information or more awareness of how we, like as humans, use the internet, because we don't want it to be too late to where, oh yeah, maybe the machines will unite and like take us out.
Right.
And you get to see that firsthand, dealing with all the data and having to protect it. I think it gives you an interesting viewpoint. So I agree completely.
Yeah.
So awesome. So what tips do you have for any other young Girl Scouts out here watching this, or who are also interested in tech at a young age? What are some things that they can do to get from that young age to where you are now in college, pursuing a career in technology?
Yeah, I think personally for me, it's all about, being more self-aware, like what you can handle and what you can't handle, what are you willing to or capable of, going through. And technology, I will say, like, it can be confusing to a lot of people, but I think even for me at a young age, I was figuring out all these little things, by myself. Like I was doing the research myself. So I think if you put in the effort and also, doing your own research, and there are a lot of outlets online, YouTube, it's free, and they have a lot of good videos. And then this is something that you could also just, try out. And if you don't like it, obviously, you can go for something else. But there's also like Khan Academy that does
lecture videos on coding or like and even in math and engineering. So I say like just use all of the resource that is available to you. Like when I was younger, I didn't have my own laptop, so that wasn't something that, you know, can be easily accessed for people who don't have that. But I was still, you know, going around asking people to use their laptop and stuff. But or like, you know, a public library. So utilize your resources, you know, learn as much as you can, try as much as you can. I'm not saying it's not gonna be successful every time you try, but at least you're learning from the mistakes. But yeah.
I love that. That's great advice.
Yes. Well, thank you, Nu, for joining us and sharing a bit of what it's like working in tech at a wonderful organization here in Memphis. And good luck to you in your senior year.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for reaching out, and hope you guys the best.
All right, well, that's all that we have for
Yes.
today.
And coming up, Alex and I are going to be trying our very own hand at some STEAM experiments, so stay tuned.
So for this activity, we are going to be testing the pH levels of a few liquids. So what you will need is red cabbage juice, which basically you just boil red cabbage in water till it's a dark blue-purple color, and then you just grab whatever liquids you have available. Lime juice, vinegar, contact solution.
Yeah, so we're going to test some of the pH level of these common liquids, and we're using cabbage juice to do it. So cabbage juice is a neutral liquid,
Yes.
right, Alex? It's not an acid or a base.
Yes.
So we all know that there's acids and bases in chemistry. And so since our cabbage juice is neutral, it's going to change color to let us know and to indicate whether the liquid we add to it is a base or an acid.
Yes.
Yeah?
So
Let's
the way
get-
that we tell this
Uh-huh.
is if it turns kind of reddish, it's an acid, and if
Okay.
it turns green or yellow, it is a base.
Okay, well,
Or if it stays the same,
it's neutral.
it's neutral.
Okay, well, let's give it a try. So we have made our red cabbage juice, like Alex said. She boiled a red cabbage in some water until it turned this, it's actually a really pretty bluish purple color. And so now we have, so our first thing we're going to test out is vinegar. So we have a little cup of vinegar here. We're going to add it to our cabbage juice. We're going to see what color it turns. Do we have any guesses?
I'm gonna think that it is an acid.
I would agree with that. Vinegar is definitely most likely an acid,
So
right?
let's see.
So I just keep pouring. There's really no measurements or wrong way to do this experiment.
It is lightening up.
It's very light.
So it is an acid.
So there's our color, and here's our original color just to compare. It definitely turned a lighter purpley. It's actually a really pretty
It
color.
did.
So vinegar's an acid.
Yes. So
Okay, let's do our
let's
next one.
Check out our contact solution. What do you think this would be?
I don't know. I'm going to say it's a base because you're putting it in your eyeball. It's
Okay.
literally like saline solution.
Okay, see, I'm between a base and it being neutral.
Neutral's
Just
a good
because
guess.
I'm like, maybe it'll be like water. Because if you pour more water in it, it stays the same. It'll
Really?
be-
It doesn't lighten?
I mean, it will lighten, but the
'Cause it's
water's
not
still
as-
a neutral.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's see what our contact solution is. That stayed pretty much the same. So you're right. It lightened up a little bit, but the color is the same. Like it's still that dark, dark purple.
Yeah, and I think it's just
It
because of the
didn't-
water being neutral. Because red cabbage juice is neutral because all it is just water with like red cabbage coloring.
Right. And so this one, you can tell it lightened, but it got more like pinky.
Yes.
And so this one is still that dark, dark purple. So I'm going to say contact solution is a neutral. Okay, so we have an acid, we have a neutral, and our last test is we're going to test some baking soda. So this one's going to be a little fun because it's not a liquid.
Yes.
It's a powder.
I actually don't know what it will be, so we're
So,
kind of curious. That's
yeah.
why we decided to do the baking sodas because we really don't know what it is,
So,
and we got curious.
I think feel like baking soda is a base.
I don't know. I almost said an acid because I know when you mix like vinegar or like lemon juice with it, it bubbles. But I know like
Those are
acids.
acids. So it wouldn't be like an acid and an acid. You would mix an acid and a base for a reaction.
I'm gonna say it's a base.
We're gonna say it's a base.
Yes.
Okay, Alex and I are locking in our guess. So let's add. It's turning bluish green. Okay, so this is like a different color.
Yeah, I was not prepared for a blue.
Okay, so it is blue.
Would it be a neutral then? If it just
But
turns
it's a different color.
I'm so confused because I know if it is a purplish, maybe
Red.
Yeah, so
So is this neither an acid nor a base?
would it make it a neutral? I don't know. I'm glad we got like all different turnouts. You can kind of see
Yeah.
the color
look at all our different
comparison.
colors.
We got
Okay, so this one is an acid. This
pretty
one,
little red,
yes.
purple.
This one is a neutral.
It stayed generally the same.
And this one, we're gonna, blue is closer to green. So I
would
think it's
say
closer
it's
to a base.
Base, yeah. I agree.
Okay.
That was
so
fun.
that's a fun little experiment that you guys can do to test out the chemistry of normal, everyday household liquids.
Yes.
Household items.
Try lemon juice or
Lemon
lime
juice is a good one. What else?
Ooh,
Apple juice.
oven cleaner or any cleaning
cleaner.
products. Most cleaning products are bases. We tested this out and did oven cleaner, and it was a bright green.
Ooh, that'll be a
So,
fun one.
yes.
So try this out at home. Report back to us how it went. And Alex and I are going to get ready for our second experiment.
Yes.
Okay, Alex. So our next activity is called elephant toothpaste.
Yes.
So this is a really fun chemical reaction, and we are going to experiment by doing a catalyzed decomposition.
Ooh.
Right.
So, yeah, what we'll need is half a cup of hydrogen peroxide
Okay.
mixed with a tablespoon of liquid soap.
Okay, so that's in this little container, beaker. And then over here, we have 1 tablespoon of yeast. So you can find this in the baking aisle with 3 tablespoons of warm water. And we just stirred it up for a few minutes to kind of wake it up so it's like this foamy, yeasty mixture in this beaker. So then the next step is we are going to combine. One other thing you'll probably need is some towels, paper towels, a tray to keep it in, because as soon as you combine these two liquids, it's going to create this foamy, uncontrollable substance. So make sure you're ready. Are you ready, Alex?
I'm excited.
All right, let's see what we got.
Oh, there it goes. So this chemical reaction is because of the yeast. The yeast is a living fungus substance. And what the yeast does is it basically like wakes up the hydrogen peroxide and it like eats it, breaks it down, and it creates
Gas.
gas, and it's like energy. So basically,
And that gets trapped in the soap.
it does,
right?
Yeah. So basically, you have
Smell it.
here is just a reaction of like oxygen, gas, and water.
So you can feel it's kind of warm because we did have some warm water in there.
Yes.
So that is energy that this is putting off. But yeah, it foamed right up, didn't it, Alex?
It did,
And it smells good.
To make it even more fun, you can add food coloring to this. So
Yes.
if you want to do a rainbow reaction,
Be any color.
yes, but make sure that you have something underneath it just to save it from the mess.
Easy cleanup. That was an awesome experiment. I think we have one more, right?
We do.
All right.
So, Amanda, we have one more activity.
Yes.
And this one focuses a little bit more on engineering.
Yes, so our last two are a little more chemistry related. So this activity is for all of our engineers out there. We are going to make a boat.
And we're going to see if it works.
Yeah, so that seems really simple, right,
Yes.
Alex? But we have some materials that aren't necessarily waterproof. We have some materials that don't necessarily float on their own.
Yeah.
Some of them do, but we want to be able to put weight on our boat, right? Because boats don't just go floating around, they have to stay afloat when you add weight to it, right?
Yes, that's right.
I guess that's where our engineers come in, because they know how to do that. But a lot of it has to do with mass and density. If you notice, there are some things that are just so heavy that they would never float in water. And then there are things like giant steel boats that you're like, how on earth is that floating? Because it's so heavy.
It's all about the design.
It's all about the design, how it's designed to stay above water. Mm-hmm. So me and Alex are going to try our hand at it. We are not engineers, but we are going to try our best. So we have some cardboard. This is like a little piece, is it foam board? Yeah, I would say it's like foam board. We have some straws, because we know straws float. Little tubes there. We got some tin foil to help us with our waterproofing.
Yes, to see if it will work.
We have some duct tape. You can try to use glue if you have enough time to like let your boat dry and then do it, but we're going to be using some tape. Some little cardboard rolls, toilet paper rolls, paper towel rolls.
A little tub of water.
A tub of water to test. And did I say cardboard already?
Yeah.
All right. So let's get started, Alex. What do we think? What's our...
I definitely think we need to waterproof one of these.
Okay. So with some foil.
Maybe even double up. I don't know if that adds weight. See, I don't know if it's going to add weight and sink it, or if it's going to like make it sturdy.
Let's try it out.
All right.
Trial and error is the best engineering process. So talk to me a little bit about the design engineering process that engineers use.
Yeah, so engineers use a process called the design thinking process. So first step is they identify the problem. Engineers ask themselves, it's like, what is the problem here, or what is the need?
Mm-hmm.
And
define the need.
Yeah, so how can I answer that? So our need is we need to make something float.
And carry weight.
And carry weight, and it won't sink, and it will be waterproof. And then the next step is to brainstorm. Mm-hmm. You brainstorm, and you can come up with several different ideas. So like we're gonna try out layering it with the cardboard and the foam board, and waterproofing it with our foil and our duct tape, just to see if it works. And if it doesn't, that's okay. But after we brainstorm some ideas to try, we're going to build
and test.
And so
then after that, we will make adjustments, because I'm sure Alex and I will need to make adjustments.
Amanda and I will talk about it, see what we can do differently, because engineers
collaborate. They
work with other people.
Yeah, they work with a whole team of other engineers.
Absolutely.
It's not just one.
It takes a team to answer innovative questions, because if it was up to one person to solve one big problem, then... well, I guess you wouldn't need a team.
No.
But that's what makes it a challenge.
Yes, and all of our brains work differently. So you might have heard this like in school and in other places, what type of learner you are.
Yeah.
And people who have an engineering mind think differently than someone who has an art mind or a more visual mind.
Or more analytical, so they're better at the math of it.
Yeah, so we all have different strengths, and that's the whole point of a team, is to make sure you have everyone who's strong in a bunch of different topics. Okay, so this is waterproofed. Do we put our double, like, shorter layer on the bottom?
I think so.
Okay, like a buoy.
Yes.
Okay, so that floats.
So we got something that floats. Let's see, I have...
we need to create, because look, if I like push my finger on it, water comes up on the sides.
Yeah.
So I think we need like a little...
almost something else to support it. So I'm thinking maybe the straws underneath it.
Ooh, we can make a little raft.
Yes. Like a raft.
Okay.
See? You gotta talk it out.
So we got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Here, there's 4. Let's like tape our raft together, and then we'll tape it to the bottom.
Okay.
Do you want 2 pieces of tape? 1?
I'm gonna try 1.
Okay, there's 1. Okay, so we got our straws taped together. So now we're gonna add it to the bottom of our boat.
The idea behind this is it could float on its own, but when Amanda would put some weight on it, it would fill up with water. So what we're going to try to do is create a somewhat raft effect by taping our straws together and putting them on opposite sides. And hopefully that creates the floating, I guess, ability that we're looking for.
Well, you've seen those rafts like on the lake or whatever.
Yes.
They look like
Yeah.
this. So we're drawing inspiration from what we know works.
Yes.
Because I'm sure a lot of other engineers do.
And it's all about trial and error.
Yeah.
So you could do this twice, 10 times, 30. Okay, I have a little
Okay, yeah, I feel like that's a little more.
of glycerin. Let's see if it supports that.
Yeah.
And it supports it.
Yeah, we still got some water seepage, so
Yeah.
Alex and I could definitely work to refine our design
Yes.
because before engineers share their inventions, they go through rigorous testing over and over and
Yes.
over. Will it work if it's windy? Will it work if it's storming? Will it work if there's a hole in one of them? Because before they put people on a boat or put people using their products, they have to make sure 110% it's going to work
Oh.
under any conditions. Before we get in a car,
Absolutely. Yes.
the engineers and safety designers make sure that that car is safe for us, whether we were to be in a head-on collision, from the side, from the back, if we rolled.
Yes.
So engineers go through a lot of testing and refining their designs. So Alex and I have a little bit more work to do on our boats, but we're excited to see what you guys come up with. We would love for you guys to share your designs with us and let us know what you guys did and if you participated with us. And that's all of the experiments that we have for you guys today. There are, like we said before, so many out there. So find the ones that pique your interest and get started.
Yeah. Wow, we had so much fun.
So much fun. Those were great experiments.
Yes, there are just so many STEAM activities out there that you can explore.
Yeah, and so Girl Scouts Heart of the South actually has a super fun program coming up this summer that's all about STEAM. Tell us about it, Alex.
We're super excited about it, but we want you guys to join us in the summer on July 19th through July 23rd for our week of STEAM Box Fun. So, girls will receive a box filled with different STEAM activities that we will be exploring. We'll actually be exploring each letter in STEAM. So, one day will be about science, one day will be about technology, another engineering, arts, mathematics. So, every day's going to be something new.
Yeah, and so we're going to have experiments like paper chromatography, to learning about acids and bases, a little chemistry. We'll have electrical circuits one day and so many more fun activities, and you'll have all the supplies that you need.
Yeah, so we're so excited. But check out our website towards the end of April, early May for more information and how to register. It'll have all the details built out for you. You can find that on our website at girlscoutshs.org.
Awesome. We're so excited. We can't wait for you guys to register with us. And that's all we have for today. So, bye.
Bye.